Welcome to the Bringing the Human Back to Human Resources podcast. I'm Traci Chernoff, and I've spent my entire professional career in HR. Each week, we'll explore the delicate balance between people and business with the aim to reconnect the two and create meaningful outcomes. Listen in as I share my own experiences, challenge the status quo, and chat with guests from various industries about our mission to bring the human back to human resources. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Bringing the Human Back to Human Resources podcast. Thank you so much for being here for another week. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe wherever you're catching this, whether you're listening or watching on Spotify or YouTube. And this week, I have Reimund Nienaber with me, who is a seasoned HR leader and global talent development expert with over 20 years of experience transforming people and processes, a certified trainer with HRD Corp Malaysia, and a master professional of business management. Reimund has spent more than 15 years leading technical and managerial teams in the telecommunications industry. Passionate about talent and learning analytics, he's known as a trusted senior management coach and partner, driving innovation and strategic growth in dynamic, ever-changing environments. And Reimund is dialing in today from Malaysia, which is amazing. Thank you, Riverside, for letting us do this. Reimund, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Traci. I'm thrilled to be here.
Oh my gosh, it's fabulous having you. And you and I were just speaking quite a bit about the future of recruitment. And I think that's where we're really going to take this conversation this week, because naturally, AI just continues to be this dominant force in conversation, whether it's how is it going to change jobs? How is it affecting jobs today? What can we expect for the future? Even Bill Gates recently, we're recording this in October, and so this episode will be coming out several months after this, but Bill Gates recently just talked about how he thinks by 2034, humans will have a 2-day work week thanks to AI. So before we dive in super deep into what you do at Edligo, I'm curious to get your perspective on that.
Well, it's very interesting to see that, but it would mean like that all the work would be done or taken over by AI agents. So although we're doing lots with AI agent, agentic AI is all around, and many of our clients are actually looking into this and want to really get ready. And they understand that they need to get their workforce ready as well. It's not just you switch some AI system on and everything will be done. We're actually really more looking into how we augment and transform roles. So I don't therefore see any redundancy actually really for people. I only see that the work is going to change, and it's going to change a lot. And it continues, the ever learning, has to continue with all the people, with all the workforce. And trust me, no AI is ever going to be replacing an electrician or plumber.
Totally. That's so true. In fact, I don't think we'd want that. I think we think we want human intervention on those things. I agree with you. I think that when I hear that, I'm like, well, does that mean that there's a replacement theory here? Because I don't subscribe to that idea. I do think that AI helps humans, and I think that humans use AI naturally. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But from the recruiting standpoint, AI has helped to transform recruiting and how we recruit, how we find candidates. But you were also talking to me a little bit about how it's evolved or transformed the experience for job seekers. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, happy to share this, and that's really like genius. When I was actually when we launched our Edligo IRA system, this AI recruiter agent, I was just posting to the world and asked people, hey, why don't you all try this? And then there came actually as well a couple of guys that they told me, well, I'm actually looking for a job, and can I just try it as well? I said, please be my guest and let me know, and then and tell me as well how you've used it, and that was really eye-opening to me, to see as well that this AI, as we're doing it, it's like great for recruiters because they just put all these CVs in there or getting them pushed from ATSs, getting them analyzed and have them all in a structured way visible to them. So because like CVs, they come in zillions of different shapes and formats, and you always, when you're recruiting, you always have, and you have hundreds of CVs in front of you, it's very painful activity trying to capture emails, phone numbers, whatever competency data out of this and summarize this. And so we're doing this all automatically. And the job seekers now, they just as well upload their CV, they look for a job description, they upload the job description, and they can see their score, and they get the feedback that actually as well the recruiter would read, would say, okay, here there are gaps, these are this here, that's where you're good, this where the CV doesn't fit. And then the employees, the seekers, they can actually use that feedback and improve on their CV. So we can't actually try to rewrite their CV. We don't do this, because we have no clue what the people really know. And they can use whatever other tools to rewrite it because they have to be truthful. But then as well, there are as well important checks that we're doing as well on our platform as well. Is this CV on indicating that the CV is fully AI generated or not? Because even that's as well a big warning flag for many recruiters. So we extend then as well this warning flag even to the job seekers. Hey, careful, your CV may have certain problems, when it's getting into an ATS that is actually really then filtering for you. It may as well have these kind of warning symptoms to be analyzed. So although many ATS systems are not really that ready yet, and as a job seeker experience as well, you've had this quite a couple of times for sure as well. You upload your CV and then you have to enter all the data again, So and we're reading out everything in very detail and helping as well ATS companies to do that much better than.
Right. Yeah, interesting. I mean, a lot of the times job seekers say that they don't get feedback. So I'm sure that experience for them in being able to get feedback and hearing, straight from ultimately this resource, that there are certain things that they could be doing to improve their CVs or their resumes,
Yes.
is probably pretty helpful for them.
That's absolutely the point of doing the entire exercise, because if you're in a job seeker situation, either voluntary or involuntarily, companies are as well looking for this now for outplacement situation. If they want to downsize, companies actually now buying this IRIS system to extend this to the employees so that these employees are finding help 24/7 at will to actually get input on how can I improve my CV or my application in order to finally actually get an interview, because the ATS systems are real gatekeepers. And they're merciless, and that's about how to get some humanity in there by helping actually humans using AI to actually get that feedback on what does a job description say that's offering the job, and what does my CV say, and how does it actually match. And ATS systems will, of course, look for certain keywords and analyze this, and then we'll make sure by providing the feedback that it says, okay, if your score is just maybe around only 50, 60, 70%, that may not be good enough to be somewhere from it by detected by an ATS to be on top of the list. So employees and the job seekers use then that feedback. They have to rewrite their CV, of course, staying truthful. That's important, because in the end, we only just can compare what's really written in the CV and compare it. And when the match score is, let's say, acceptable, I would say great match score would be always above 90%, then the CV should be ready to actually be submitted. And I can tell you there are real success stories. We have lots of confirmation from job seekers that were just providing me the input and said, look, Raymond, I've tried this, and miraculously, I discovered now what did I do wrong, and now I'm getting interviews. And actually, they got even a job.
That's great.
Yes.
We love a story like that.
Yes. It is just fabulous to really see how technology then can actually help the employees, the job seekers, in an outplaced situation or well, in that situation, to use technology to really help them to get what they want.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, this is, to me, the whole point of having tools in general at our disposal, is how we use them in order to not just get ahead, but really amplify ourselves or our experiences, our careers. And speaking of careers, I'm curious because, of course, I know that you've spent a tremendous amount of time in HR and you're super seasoned. And currently at Edligo, you're the director of consulting and customer success. So how does your HR experience kind of fold into what you do at your current company?
Actually, very nice question, So because development has always been at my heart, As I said, I've been around, I've been working in Germany, I've been working in Malaysia, Philippines, Australia, Indonesia, uh,
Amazing.
Mexico, and then in Latin America. I've been head of HR in Latin America for 5 years before then coming back for this COVID, within the COVID time, came back to Germany. And uh, you know, always what I've done being there an expatriate, I've always made myself redundant, So development of people in the countries was always very important to me. It always been as my heart. And I can exactly do that and help other people to develop in Edligo, when we're analyzing the skills, the competencies, because this has been, it's a skill world, Without skills and
Right.
competencies, you don't get any further anymore. It's not that much on the
Yeah.
title where you may associate certain skills or competences. It's really more important, what do people actually now really know, and how ready are they to use these skills?
Right, right, right. No, that makes sense. I think what's helpful because, so many listeners are in HR or looking to get into HR is that you're talking about your skills and how you basically apply these skills regardless of the title or where you are or what country you're working in or living in. And I think that that's really important actually especially in the framework of how we kind of future proof our own careers as technology continues to advance. That really leaning into our skills, honing our skills, what we're good at, what we can help other people do is a really helpful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we sorry, excuse me. And we very much use AI as a compass to identify this human potential, which is actually as well there. And sometimes it's hidden. And again, coming back to this recruitment, as well, some guys, they said, okay, now I've analyzed this job description. I really wanted this job. And now I know actually what I have to learn in order to close the gap. I might not be able to apply now this time, but I can prepare myself now with that. Now I understand much better what I need to do in order to be able to prepare a better application, And
Sure.
on the other hand, like when if I look at our larger Edligo system, there succession planning is very important. Succession, allowing people as well to understand where their competencies are. That they do a kind of little competency assessment, and then see, okay, where's my gap? Getting training injected, able to fill gaps. And that even now especially comes very handy at this time where we have clients that actually are on this AI transformation and augmentation or automation journey. It's a very interesting where they run very short agile cycles of competency assessments in order to understand, okay, where are we now from the competency point of view? Okay, what are the trainings that our employees need actually that we can do some augmentation in a planned way? Because it's test here, play around here, play around there. Companies don't have time for this. It's not a wish you something club. Yeah. So and then
Right,
then then
right.
then the companies really need to think about, have already maybe some early adopters being able to understand what competences and skills they need, and then understand, okay, everybody is getting now on a level of augmentation readiness. Next iteration, they figure out, okay, what kind of transformative tasks do we have? Because everything is task based. You just don't basically you just don't augment a complete role. There you have to make big breakdowns and figure out what are people doing and what can you transform, what can you augment, and what you might be automate. And then on the next level, after you inject maybe training about how to transform tasks and roles, then you're thinking about, okay, how can we automate? And then you're actually looking over all the departments and different silos, and then again looking at all the competences that are required to go for next rounds of learnings and developments and analysis, actually what people know then, so that the entire organization can grow. It's not only that, it's not only the skills and competences, because many organizations are not ready from their setup. They don't have
Hmm.
tools agreed. They don't have processes agreed. They have not agreed very often in companies or defined on what are the ethical limits of AI, on how to use it appropriately in the organization. What are the limits? Are there any taboos that we don't do?
Sure.
As well, like how big is the risk appetite in organizations to decide how much do we want to automate versus maybe the ROI that comes out of it, and sometimes a very high ROI is as well going hand in hand with a higher risk that things could go wrong. And how much of decisions do you want to make, automated or human controlled? And then they have to be very
Sure.
detailed to check all these things, and that has to be as well learned, and therefore that's why I believe that humans will not be out of control there and will definitely not be out of
Right.
job.
Right. I agree. Totally subscribe to that. And what I think is, I was doing some research into your company, and I think it's interesting, this belief and kind of fundamental element to the company's ethos, which is that people, employees are lifelong learners. And I think that's where organizations tend to miss the mark a little bit because, there's generally a lack of learning and development
Yes.
in most organizations, right? So I think it's really interesting to see that that's kind of fundamental to how you support other organizations.
Yes, I mean what you've just said is it's like the foundation of our existence, yeah, as Edligo, or even the foundation should be even the foundation of all companies and organizations. Because
Hmm.
if you want to um, take steps on AI, and your people, the population in the organization, has no clue about, as I said, tools, processes, what to do right, what's wrong, and all these big packages, that we are consulting then as well, and we're helping the leaderships and to understand this, and as well, or helping them on the communication, because in the end, these are huge change processes and projects. Actually, it is not
Right.
just you
Right.
switch on a system and suddenly everything runs automated through a miraculous AI that's somewhere running in the background. Then you need as well new roles, people that are able to turn this on, turn this off, maintain this, handle this in the cloud, or handle this on site, depending on how security features are to be taken care of. Then you have different regulator rules and requirements here in the European Union, and you're in the US. There's completely set of different rules and requirements you have to abide. And when you're a
Right.
global organization, how do you separate this data, or which data stream are you following? How much of consent do you need? And
Right.
and so these are very complex topics that organizations need to learn about before they actually really can do these steps. It's not too complicated, but it requires a lot of thought as well. And of course, we are ready to assist and to help.
That's great. I think one of my final questions for you then is, what are some things that organizations can do today to really inspire this concept of lifelong learning? Like, is it identifying where they fall short and working with organizations like Edligo to kind of bring that in, or is there something maybe even super simple that they could do today to really encourage that type of behavior?
I think there are, of course, ways that they can work with us, and I'm happy to invite companies to do this, because what we actually basically always doing, we're always identifying on what do your people know today, and do you have actually any strategic plan of where do you want to see your people tomorrow? And then you identify the gap and you close this gap. That one you do with tools like
Sure.
Edligo in the way. But in simple terms, actually, you can, of course, have first of all discussions, where do we as an organization want to be? That's where it all starts, where do we see us in 2-3 years from now, on what do we want to do in terms of products, in terms of culture, in terms of people, or in terms of revenue? So one of our clients come and says, look, we want to actually grow by 2030 from 100 million to 300 million. Okay, we have currently X amount
Hmm.
of people, and maybe we want to add another 200, and the rest is only allowed to be AI workers. So Raymond, tell me, what do I need to do? Okay, and then you do very interesting exercises with them, calculations, and you calculate basically, okay, if you have this and this, then if you have these numbers, then you see, okay, how much of your processes actually iWorkers will be able to handle, and that one you do then, of course, without tools. This is a lot of maybe experience and paper exercise as well, analyzing the work and the tasks that the people are doing. So but from the coming back on how to actually learn, open, which is very important, open access to learning repositories for employees is important, and encouraging them as well, and not turning them down when they say, hey, I
Sure.
really want to do this. Where can I do this? Can you help me, boss?
Totally. That's actually really important. A really important point. I think that this is exactly why I was looking forward to our conversation, because learning is actually something that I've been speaking with a lot of people about in the last several weeks, and I think there's just a lot that organizations can be doing, and I like that you identified that, really kind of figuring out what the gap is one of the first steps. So with that, I would love for you to share with the listeners where they can find you, get connected, and maybe learn more.
Yes, all right. Of course, I can be found at LinkedIn, so easy to find me there. Reimund Nienaber, you will easily find me there in LinkedIn. I think there's only one like me in there with this first name and last name. Easy to connect. Happy to engage in interesting conversations there. We're doing as well sometimes some podcasts, and happy to be connected. And of course, maybe if you provide my email there, then reimund.nienaber@edligo.com. So easy to connect with me, and happy to share more with any interested parties.
Amazing. And we'll have everything linked too, so that people can get connected. And Reimund, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and all of your insights.
Thank you very much for having me, Traci.
Of course, anytime. Hey, just before you go, don't forget to subscribe to this show so that you are the first to hear when an episode drops each week. And maybe leave a 5-star review and a comment about how much you loved this episode. Plus, if you have someone in mind who would really enjoy this episode, make sure you share it with them. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week.